Hi there, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to get notifications on our latest videos. Today, we're diving into a very important topic for anyone that's going through a divorce or a separation, and it's the top 12 questions you should ask your family law lawyer. Now, we know divorce and separation will be one of the most challenging times in your life. There's no doubt about that. And finding the right family law lawyer to help you through this process makes a world of difference. But what exactly should you ask, a potential family law lawyer, you wonder? Well, let's break it down for you. Question number one, you want to find out what kind of experience and specialization they have. So how long have they been doing this? Are they, and again, if they've not been doing it for too long, do they have mentorship and are part of a team of more seasoned family law lawyers? Also, you want to confirm that they specialize in family law. You don't want someone that just has family law as part of a larger general practice handling your divorce matter, especially if it has complex issues. So in addition to asking how long they've been practicing in family law, you want to know if they specialize in family law matters. And the reason why that is crucial, as I said earlier, is just specialization counts, particularly in family law. Family law covers a lot of other areas of law. It intersects with criminal law in some cases. Wills and estates matters. There's tax considerations that people, that your lawyer needs to be aware of. There are business issues that arise, not to talk about, all of the other factors that go into parenting, the children's laws and areas like that. So I don't want to overblow that point, but specialization, in my opinion, really counts, and you want to make sure that your lawyer first has experience handling family law matters and also specializes in that area. So secondly, case management. You want to know who will be handling your case on a day-to-day basis. And this is important because you want to make sure your case gets the attention that it deserves. So is your lawyer going to be, the lawyer that you're talking to at the time, going to be handling your case personally, or will they be handing it over to another lawyer? It's important that if you want to deal with the lawyer you're talking to, then you want to know up front so that you can make that request. And if you want to avoid any confusion for later so you don't get passed on against your wish. If you're getting passed on to another lawyer or, practitioner within the firm, you want to make sure that they are getting the proper supervision. So that's something that you want to clarify. How many cases, for example, is the lawyer handling? Again, with family law, sometimes a lawyer may have just 2 cases, but do not be deceived, because 2 highly contentious cases could take just as long as a person that's handling 40 cases where 20 of them are dormant and, and then there's 20 that are just in varying degrees of conversations and negotiations. So don't get caught up in the number, but just make sure that you get the idea. So when you ask how many cases are being handled, you want to know how contentious they are, or you could cut to the chase and just ask if the lawyer has enough room and time to take on your case and give it the attention that it deserves. If they're working as part of a team and your file would be handed over to another lawyer or practitioner in the firm, you want to make sure that that is something you're okay with. Ask for the name of the lawyer. If you need to do your own research, make sure you do that so that you're comfortable. In fact, you can even ask for, a quick meet and greet with the lawyer that will be handling your case, if that's what would be happening, if your case would be passed off. So you want to make sure that you're comfortable, because again, you need the right family law lawyer on your side. That is very important when going through this. So you've asked about their experience and specialization. You want to know who's going to be managing a matter within the firm. You also want to know their approach and philosophy in general. There's some lawyers, and this is neither right nor wrong. Remember, this is about finding the perfect fit for you. I don't believe there's one perfect fit for every client, and that's okay. So even at our firm, when we have, lawyers taking on new files, I always tell clients that it's okay to let us know if things aren't, if you're not feeling comfortable for whatever reason with the lawyer you're working with. We're a team, so we can always make sure that your file gets moved to the person that's best suited for, your needs. It almost, I'll say almost never happens where, it's not a fit. We try to make sure from the get-go that you are working with the best lawyer for your case. But it's important to have the right fit. So when I talk about approach and philosophy, some lawyers might take, a very like scorched earth approach, and they want to litigate every little detail, while some other lawyers are the other extreme where they want every issue to be resolved amicably, and of course the people in between. It's not a question, I should say, of right or wrong. It's just a question of what kind of personality do you want with your family law lawyer? Do you want someone that's more settlement focused or more litigation focused? But even within this, as I said, there's a lot of lawyers fall within the range, and they can sort of move from one spectrum to another. But just be careful that if you're dealing with lawyers that have a philosophy that leans from one extreme to the other, that they fit what you want. So if you're going to someone that's just complete litigation, we're going to litigate everything. If that's the fit for you, if that's what you're looking for, then fantastic. Just make sure that you're not working with someone that is trying to do everything possible to avoid litigation for you. So their general approach and philosophy to how they resolve their cases matters. If your case is a high conflict, as an example, you want to make sure that you're dealing with a lawyer that's comfortable with dealing with those kinds of cases in general, because some lawyers don't want to deal with high conflict cases. Some lawyers stay away from dealing with spouses that are highly combative and things like that. So that's important information to share so that you make the right decision for your case. And then you want to find out what their legal strategy is. So that's question number 4. What is their legal strategy in your case in particular? So they might have a general philosophy, but in your case, depending on your issues, they may choose to address things differently. So you want to find out, after you've had a chance to share your story with them, you've given them some background understanding on your case, then you want to ask what their assessment of your case is. What approach do they suggest, right? Because in some cases, it might be appropriate to jump straight into litigation. But in most cases, it's probably appropriate to start with some form of negotiation and see how that goes, what kind of response you get, and then you can adjust as you go along. I always tell clients personally, like, the goal remains, but the strategy may change from time to time, depending on the response that you're getting from the other side. So in the beginning, there will be an idea of the legal strategy to start your case. So just to give an example, you may start off with the strategy of your case. Maybe, this involves parenting issues. We're going to start off with a mediation, and it's like, okay, off to the races. If during the process, for example, the other side is not responding or just seems to be dragging their feet and mediation isn't proving to be effective, it might be appropriate to then re-strategize and move to another process that might be effective in getting you the resolution that you need. But off the bat, the lawyer should be able to give you a legal strategy, and you need to be comfortable starting out that that's the way you would like to approach your case. Money, 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 money. I'm not gonna sing I got you there. I would not sing. There's probably a reason I'm a lawyer. But seriously, costs and billing, that's something that you want to talk to the lawyer about. What's the financial exposure you're looking at, so to speak? For some cases, lawyers may offer flat fee billing structures. In other cases, it may be hourly. I recognize that it is hard in family law matters for lawyers to be able to give exact cost estimates, because a lot of the costs in family law matters depend on the other side as well. Sort of, are they acting in bad faith? If they're amicable, willing to negotiate and things like that. Obviously, costs would be lower. If they're not, then unfortunately it increases your cost to some extent. So you want to have that conversation with the lawyer at the very least to understand what kind of billing structure you're looking at. What's the billing frequency, for example? So, are you billed every 6 months, or would you prefer more frequent billing so that you understand what your financial obligations are? There's firms that would not bill you for several months and you get a large bill. If that's something that you're comfortable with, that's fine. For those who want to manage their bills in smaller increments and want to be on top of the expenses as things progress, you might want a firm that bills more frequently. So that's a conversation you should ask. Definitely ask the question around cost and billing. Communication, in what form would it take for starters? So, and this is more establishing also your preferences and making sure that it aligns with what, the lawyer is willing to do on your case. So how often would they stay in touch? For example, is there, do you prefer to be communicated with by email, phone? Do you want to always come in person into the office? There's some lawyers that would absolutely never send an email. I hope to God they no longer exist because a lot of things changed during the pandemic. But before the pandemic, there were lawyers that only did meetings in person and didn't want to do things by phone or email. And there's also clients that want to do that, right? So it's a matter of your preference. Some lawyers are able to offer, all kinds of communication methods to help the clients and to help facilitate what the client prefers, I should say. But some lawyers have fixed preferences and some clients do as well. So make sure that, there's no miscommunication there. You don't want a situation where you've retained a lawyer and then, if you prefer having in-person meetings, if your lawyer only does, video conferences or phone calls, then that's a recipe for an unhappy lawyer-client relationship. And, that's the last thing you need when you're going through such a difficult time already. So do find out what are their timelines as well. Some lawyers get back very quickly within a few minutes, within a few hours, or some take days and unfortunately in some cases weeks. So find out. It may not be a big deal for you, but you just want to know, right? And so that everyone's on the same page and you're picking someone that's the right fit. You also would like to have an idea of the timelines and expectations. So they may be able to give you an idea of how long they expect your case to take. Again, bearing in mind that this could change again. The response you get from the other side and how amicable they are, so to speak. There's also, if your matter is now going through litigation, there's also a lot of things that are out of your control there. Most notably, the court calendar, you have no control over that. So, your timelines may not always be exact, but at least get an idea of what it looks like. Get an understanding of what steps, whatever legal strategy you've agreed to, what steps do those entail and how long would it realistically take, all things being equal. So you also want to kind of get an idea of what they think is the potential outcome for your case. With family law matters, there's usually multiple issues involved, and so you want them to kind of walk you through, what do they think with respect to your child support position, for example. If you're making a claim for spousal support, what do they think? Is it, do you have any entitlement there? Or is it a claim that you should perhaps not be making? Or whatever the case may be, discuss the timelines, how long it might take to deal with all the issues or some, and what your chances of success are with regard to each of the issues. If the lawyer is experienced, they would have an idea of the range of possible outcomes. No one can ever tell you 100% how things would turn out, but there's generally a range of possible outcomes, and you want to have an idea of what that is in your case. Then you want to also ask them about settlement options and alternatives. So a lot of family law matters are settled. People don't have to go to court. Sometimes they don't even have to go to mediators. Between the lawyers, the details get worked out and you settle. But if you're not able to do that just with the lawyers, then you want to discuss options, right? So is it going to just be court, or are they comfortable doing, mediation? Collaborative family law is a great option that, it's not mediation, but you get both lawyers and you have a team of professionals working with you to make sure that you get the best possible outcome for each party and for your children, if there's children involved. So that's something that you want to find out as well. If you're open to collaborative family law, you want to make sure that the lawyer you're talking to has training in collaborative family law, right? To be able to offer that option to you. If you're going through mediation, if you're thinking about mediation as well, that's something you have to discuss. So just discuss the various alternatives and what's best for your situation, both in terms of cost, timelines, the issues in dispute, and the personality on the other side. And then talk about the issues. If there's children involved, talk about, what do they see in terms of parenting and decision-making responsibilities? Are there ways that you can begin to strengthen your case? For example, if you have a parenting dispute and I'm just going to use a simple example. The other side is just persistently late or does not exercise parenting time. Begin to keep a journal, because if your case takes a year or two, it's in terms of evidence that you're presenting, it's a different question, or it's a different matter to say, well, he or she is often late, versus when you can actually say, they're late XYZ times, and in the last 6 months, they've not even exercised any parenting time. And so keeping detailed notes would help you keep track. I am not wishing that your matter takes long. I hope that it will be resolved quickly, but keeping, detailed notes can be very helpful to refresh your memory when you need it. So that's something to consider. And even if you're dealing with financial issues as well, ask the lawyer, if there are financial issues in my case, what should I do? So an example might be, do you need to start opening a separate bank account, or does it make more sense if you had a joint account to continue to maintain that status quo? If you need to, depending on the issues in your case, maybe you need to get to the bank so that you can get historical bank statements, given that there is a limit to how long banks hold these records. So you want to make sure that, you're getting in very quickly, getting out all the information that you need so that you don't lose out on any critical evidence that might be required in your case. So now I'm down to reason number 11. You want to talk to them about post-separation issues. Unfortunately, I should say post-divorce issues, or post-finalization issues would be a better way to express this. Because when your matter is settled, you have that final order, you have signed off on a separation agreement, whatever the case may be. It would be nice to say you sail off into the sunset and, everyone just lives by the rules and you never have to see your lawyers ever again. If only everyone could be so lucky. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So you want to make sure that your lawyer will be there to support you. If, for example, you need to bring motions to change support in the future, or if parenting arrangements need to change, whatever the case may be, if there's enforcement issues and things like that, you want to make sure that they will be there to give you that support. And last but not least, or maybe even most importantly, you have to think about the reputation of the lawyer and references. So talk to the lawyer in terms of, thankfully these days you could do some little, online digging yourself about the lawyer, and you can take a look at their references, look at the good and the bad. So most people will have that if it's genuine reviews. And, just make that judgment call. What are people saying about them? Read the what the content of these reviews, not just the number of stars is fantastic because clearly it shows the ratio of clients that are happy versus unhappy, but you also want to read some of the reviews to make sure that, okay, that this lawyer, the things that they do and what the clients say about them aligns with what I'm looking for. And if that's not your cup of tea, if you would rather talk to real life people, ask the lawyer to give you some references so that, or some, if they're open to having you speak with past clients, if that's possible, so that you can get sort of an idea of a real life client that's worked with them and what the experience was working with that firm. So those are 12 crucial questions that I have given you, and I'm just going to list them out now, so that you make sure that you ask any potential family law lawyer that you're looking to work with to make sure that you pick the best fit for you, okay? So first, the experience and specialization, how the case would be managed in the firm, their general approach and philosophy to dealing with cases, the legal strategy for dealing with your particular case, the costs and billing methodologies or practices of the firm, what communication looks like, frequency and mode, what are the timelines and expectations for your case, what are the settlement options available to you, and alternative dispute resolution options if that's something that you are leaning towards. You want to talk about number 9, if there are children involved, what can you do to better your case if parenting is an issue? Financial considerations, you also want to ask about what you can do if there are financial considerations to make sure that you are prepared to, have all the evidence to make your case successful, and what you need to be doing in the time being to ensure that you are not negatively affected. And you want to ask about post-separation issues and the support you can get there. And you want to find out about their reputation and references. So that is it for this video. And until next time, it's bye for now.